Hello and welcome to part 2 of creating a numbers game. So if we open Scratch either in the web-based version or the desktop version and then do file load from your computer, and we're going to look for the part 1 version that we saved the other day. So Spanish numbers part 1. So just recapping, Abby is introducing Spanish numbers, and then we created our own sprites for the Spanish numbers plus the numerical numbers, and then we made a review sprite as well. And if the person clicks on the review sprite, then it goes through all the numbers again, teaching the person the Spanish word plus the number. So now we're up to the part of creating the game. So we do need a new sprite where a person will click on it and then the game will start. So what I'm going to do is duplicate the review one and then go to costumes, and this is how I made sure the the lettering was the same size, etc. So what I did was I just left a piece up the top of the capital and a piece at the bottom so I know the height of the capital letter, and then a piece of the next letter just at the top, and just to indicate it down the bottom how far the lettering went. Then I went to the text, placed it in our central zone, and this time it's going to be play game. And we'd like the lettering to be black, so all settings down to 0. Then while your lettering is selected, we're just going to move this across, and we want the top of the P to be in line with this piece here and the bottom of the P in line with that. So this is how I got my measurement from. And then we just want this placed in a central position. And now I know the lettering is the same size as the review. That fits in quite nicely. So now just position this wording in a central position and choose the eraser and just take out our little indicators there. And so that's how you make sure the lettering is the same height. So now, just to get on to the coding for this, so going to code and events, we've copied the code over, so when the flag is clicked, then hide, and we need to be able to see where the coordinates are. So we change the backdrop so we can get an idea of the positioning, and we would like the position down in here for play the game. So let's have a look at where number 10 ended up. So let's have a look at that's code. So minus 75 minus 124. So now when we click on the code, when I receive numbers end show, we've got play game down here. So recapping on the code for this new sprite, when the green flag is clicked, hide, go to coordinates down the bottom of the stage, and when I receive numbers end, then show. The other sprite review, that's got the same code as well, when I receive numbers end, show. So both of these will be showing once all the numbers, Spanish numbers, have appeared. And then we've got to then, if the person clicks on play the game, we've got to change the backdrop and then start the game. So let's bring in the next backdrop. So hover over, choose a backdrop, upload a backdrop, and it's going to be, first of all, I got a map of Peru, and then I took out the background, so now it's just a transparent background. So it's going to be Peru map 2. And remember to acknowledge where you got your graphics from. So we've got the map of Peru, and back to play game. So we want to change this now to Peru map 2. Now let's just click on what's appearing on screen and hide 7, hide, see it, hide, next, and hide, review. We do want review there. We want to go to backdrops and Peru. And we want play game, we want review to hide, and on the backdrop there's a mark there, so let me see if I can get rid of that. Then what I've got in mind for the game is I'm going to have an aeroplane down the bottom left, and every time a person answers the math question correctly, then the plane gets closer and closer to Peru until the plane's actually on Peru, and then the game finishes. So that's the idea. So we're going to bring in a new sprite, and I've just reduce the white space around it a little bit, so airplane 2, and we need to downsize it to about, I'll try 30, yeah, 30 is good, and down here. So for the airplane now we need some code, so events when the green flag is clicked, looks and hide. But we do want it to go to the coordinates, and you know by now when you've placed a sprite on the stage, Scratch already picks up the XY coordinates. Now we need something in here to place some instructions of how to play the game, and then also the questions have to appear. It has to be attached to something. So we could attach the questions to the airplane, that might be an idea, and the instructions as well. So we're going to go to we're going to choose when the backdrop changes to Peru map 2. then we want this sprite to show. Now for scoring, we need to set up a variable, and we can simply call it score. So when the backdrop switches to Paru map 2, we need the score to be set to 0. So set score to 0. And then just have a little bit of wait time. So wait 0.3. Now we need to let the code, set up a code where the game actually finishes. How do we know when the game finishes? So we need it when the plane is touching some colors in the map. What we need is from controls, here, repeat until. So we place that, and then under sensing, touching color, so that goes, fits in here. And then we've got to choose a color from here. So we've got to repeat until the plane is touching a color. So we click on the color and then the eyedropper, and then let's see if we can pick up the yellow. So it's a greeny yellowy color. Then we've got to start asking some questions. So under sensing, there's a code called ask. So we place that in here. And this is where we do our math questions. So the first one will be, what is 8 plus 2? And so we're making this game as a revision for learning the numbers from 1 to 10 in Spanish. So depending on which language you are using for your game. So what is 8 plus 2? And then to get the answer, we need to go to variables, and we need to make a variable. I'm just going to call it math. And then we use this one, set math to, and then we pick up under operators the mathematical equation. So it's going to be one number plus another number, so that goes in there. So we actually now type the figure of what we've asked in the question. So we're saying, what is 8 plus 2? Then we choose an if, which is under controls. It has to be an if and then. So if, and then under here, under sensing, if the answer is, and we need an equal to, this one here. So we place answer on there. If answer is equal to, and then we put the answer to 8 plus 2 is equal to 10. And then we move this into the if-then code. The answer is equal to 10, then do this. So first of all, the person has answered it correctly. So we change the score by 1. Then we also want to move the airplane a little bit closer. So I'm going to move it up here. And for motion, glide to that position there. So it's getting closer and closer every time they answer correctly. Then we just put in a wait time 0.3, and then we go on to our next question, and we set it up exactly the same from this point here. So we're going to ask, and this time we're going to say 1 plus 3 is ... and question, and then we come back, follow this pattern now. Variables, set math to, and then we've got to then put in the equation. So we're picking up the plus. So we repeat, but we do numbers now. 1 plus 3. And then we do an if and then, if and then, we choose an operator, this one here equals to, and we choose the sensing for answer. Place it in here. If answer is equal to 1 plus 3 is 4, then, and we go back to our variables, change the score by 1. Change the score by 1, and then we want the plane to move. So we go up a little bit. Motion, glide, not the random one, glide, and then controls, wait, 0.3. Oh, this one up here, the math one, we actually don't want that showing, so just untick that one. And as you can see, I'm going to have to move my plane to a different place, so I might have to have it flying in from top and then down. So let me just change that. So I've moved the plane up to the top right. These are the coordinates here, and so down here I'm going to have to change those coordinates. So let me just take those out for a second. move it down. And move it down. And we're going to continue with the mathematical questions. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some more questions, and I'll see you in a couple of seconds. So I've gone through and added all the questions that I'd like to ask, and I have done all the gliding until the airplane touches Peru. Now to finish the game, you glide to your destination on top of the map, then you hide the airplane sprite, and then you stop the script. Then I've also added, if the airplane is touching the same color, I just duplicated this code, touching this color, then say well done, you have reached Peru. Now the only thing that's missing is some instructions at the beginning of what you expect the person to do. So in here underneath score, I'm just going to put some instructions here. Now let's get some timing here. The idea of the game is to successfully answer math equations, which will appear with Spanish words, which will enable you to reach your destination of Peru. I'm going to say 10 seconds. To answer each equation, please type your answer and figures in the box provided at the bottom of the stage. Have fun. I'm going to say 7 seconds. Alright, let's have a look at this. Alright, just clicking, and then we'll start. Right. The idea of this game is successfully answer math equations, which will appear with Spanish words, which will enable you to reach your destination of Peru. To answer each equation, please type your answer and figures in the box provided at the bottom of the stage. Okay, I'm going to bump that up. We might have a little bit of slower readers at 15 and make that 12. Right, let's try that again. The idea of this game is to successfully answer math equations, which will appear with Spanish words, which will enable you to reach your destination of Peru. To answer each equation, please type your answer in figures in the box provided at the bottom of the stage. Have fun. Alright, I'm happy with the timing. So what we've ended up on this page is we've added in some instructions at the beginning, then a wait time, set the score to 0, and then start asking the questions. Now a little bit of tidying up. If we go back to our very beginning, where we've got Abby at the beginning, let me just switch there. And let's show Abby. Looking at her code, we've got to insert an extra code here, hide the variable for score, otherwise you'll have the score up here and people will be waiting for the game, so please place that there. And the other thing we've got to do is when we go to backdrops, choose this one. Let's hide Abby now. For when we had review in the code was when the sprite is clicked, switch to backdrop, abstract to, and hide. But we've got another backdrop now, so if people choose play game, we've got to now add this code when the backdrop switches to Peru map 2, where the game is, then hide. So just make sure you put those two codes in. And now let's navigate through to our final part where the game is. And let's run through, click on the airplane sprite. Let's run through the code and see what this looks like now. So we've got our instructions at the beginning so people playing the game know how it works. Then our questions come up with the figures in Spanish, and down in the box, down in this area here, is where they type their answer. So I'll just run through the game and we'll watch how the plane glides as well. So well done, you have reached Peru, and then the plane disappears and the script ends. So that's the end of the game. So have fun everyone putting it all together. If you've got some questions or you've got some troubleshooting that you need to solve, please add them to comments on my YouTube page for part 2 or even part 1. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you for watching.